This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs, and welcome to a victorious episode 195 of the Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening, and I hope you're all doing very, very well. So, Arsenal's march to club football world domination started with a 4-1 pre-season friendly win over Girona on Saturday evening, and yes, that's right, COSTA BRAVA champions. You'll never sing that. And joining me today to chat about that game, our pre-season, the latest transfer updates, and so on is Ian, aka Ask Cannon Picks. Ian, long time no speak. How's your summer as a champion been, and how are your personal pre-season preparations going?
I'm good, Tabs. Good to be back on. Yeah, we haven't podded in a while. My summer's been fairly quiet. I didn't watch 1 minute of the World Cup. I took a break from football. It was fantastic. I just bathed in the glory of being champions. And yeah, my preparations have just been. I just yesterday I got delivery of my new jersey, the away kit, which is very bloody nice in real life, ARL as the kids say. And yeah, I'm just so excited for the new season, especially, and we'll get into the transfer talk later, especially if a few of the madness has happened. So yeah, cool.
So I was just saying, are you ready for the new season? You looking forward to it? You unplugged and now you're sort of ready to plug back into the Arsenal matrix.
Yeah, I am. Like I say, I took the summer off from football, and I've been literally counting the days down until not just the pre-season, but the 21st of August. I've flights booked for the game against Coventry, and literally counting the days down for that. But it was great to see the guys back in action as well. But I'm ready to go. I'm raring to go.
Good stuff. Now look, there is a bit of a delay on the line. We are talking in between England and Ireland, so huge distance covered there, and technology hasn't quite reached that part of the world yet. So apologies if it feels a bit stilted at times, but we'll soldier on as podcasters do. So Girona 4-1 to Arsenal, relatively easy, and we're going to follow our usual format. So look at the lineups, have a bit of a highlight, lowlight, go through a couple of the bits of the game, talk about the game, and that's that. But we're not going to do it in great detail. I'm not going to be pulling out the stats on this one. But yeah. So first thoughts, and I know you've caught up on it today, but what from yesterday and today, what did you make of the lineup that was out? So we had Kepa in goal, Calafiori, Hincapié, Mosquera, White at the back, Havertz, Lewis Skelly, Waneri in midfield, and then Dowman, Gyökeres, and Tzolis up front.
Yeah, as you just alluded to, full disclosure, I didn't see the game. Well, I don't think anybody saw the game. I heard there was all sorts of shenanigans with the Arsenal website when people bought the pass and it didn't work. But I was away last night, so I was knee deep in Guinness and Kahlua. And yeah, so I didn't see it, but I did catch up today. I was keeping an eye on the score, and I was very interested to see the lineup, because obviously we don't have a lot of our squad back. There's still the 3 Spanish lads and the 4 English lads to come back. So, but yeah, I mean, it was as strong a lineup as you could get. I felt a little bit sorry for Gabriel Jesus. I know he's probably out the door, but the poor man can't even get in the starting lineup when we're threadbare. But yeah, I mean, it was probably the only lineup we could have put out, because obviously I know the youngsters normally get the run out in the second half. I was kind of happy as well, and I know we'll get into it, that he was managing minutes. He is managing minutes already. He took Havertz and Gyökeres off quite early. When I very first saw that, I was keeping an eye on my phone to score, and I saw that they'd been substituted like after 30 minutes or whatever it was. I was like, oh my God, please don't tell me that's an injury or they're injuries. But no, they were just being rested. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what you thought of the lineup, but I don't think he could have gone much any other way, really.
No, I was pleased. Yeah, it was quite strong. Yeah, I don't think there was anyone else. I think the Brazilians, Big G and Little G. Big G and Little G had only just started midweek last week, so as you said, as strong as he could go. And yeah, I was pleased. I think the main thing I was pleased to see was Ben White. back, especially after the injury he picked up at that infamous West Ham game at the end of the season. And it's an interesting one because I think a lot of people were potentially happy to sell him this summer to get some funds in, and maybe his time at Arsenal was up, and maybe the injuries and whatnot, and maybe we need some fresh blood. But given what's happened to Saliba and given the worries about Timber, he's not going anywhere. And even if we are looking to buy another right-handed defender, he's going to be an important member of the squad and a first teamer. So I think he was primarily the one player that I was pleased to see. And then the others, yeah, look, I think it's going to be a lot of really important minutes for the likes of Lewis Skelly, for Mosquera, even Dowman, Waneri, possibly, depending what happens to him, and Tzolis, because these guys may not be in those positions primary players, regular starters, shall we say. But the beginning of the season is going to be fraught with danger in terms of bringing players back at the right time. There's going to be what their fitness levels are, and it's going to be really important that these guys get up to speed pretty quickly, get their relationships going pretty quickly, and if these are the sort of players that are going to be in and around the team those first 5 games, because the likes of Rice and Saka and so on and coming back and then. Yeah, it's they may not be starting. They're not with the first, second, or third game. So I think it's massive for these players to have really good minutes and a really good run out and work together with each other.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The World Cups and anytime there's a summer tournament, it can cause havoc with starts of seasons. The good news is that it's not just Arsenal who will be affected by it, but like 7 of our first team kind of went down to the last weekend of the World Cup. So we are one of probably the worst hit, but really important to get minutes in. This is what pre-season is all about. We love to win the games. We love to see the goals, obviously, and any new signings like Tzolis looked really good. But it's just about fitness, and you're right. It's so important to get minutes into the legs of these guys who are going to be super important to us very early in the season.
The biggest worry, I think, is Timber still absent. I mean, he's been with the sort of squad pre-season, sort of already training. He said he's been working on whatever it is the issue is, since he pulled out of the Dutch World Cup squad. He went back to the UK this week to see a specialist, which apparently was in the plan. But it's been since before the Carabao Cup final. And apart from 30-odd minutes in the Champions League final, and something's not right. So that's been like 4 or 5 months. It's a concern. It's one of these ones that no one seems to know, can't put their finger on it, or I don't know, but it's sort of concerning. And this is why it brings back the importance of Ben White and the importance of Mosquera. But, are you worried, or are we just managing him, do you think?
I think the truth lies probably somewhere in the middle. I think, I am worried because normally you hear some information about injuries, but the club have been very, very tight-lipped on Timber. And normally when that happens, it means there's something bigger at play. That doesn't necessarily mean there is. But yeah, I am worried because he's such an important player for us. He, strong statement to say, but I reckon if he starts the Champions League final, there's a good chance we win it. That might sound a bit crazy, but I do believe it. Obviously, because Mosquera made the one error despite him playing very well, but we won't go over old wounds. So yeah, I would love to. I just love to see him even just get back on grass, or even just some news about him, just to see what's what it is. Because when you're not hearing much, the mind wanders. So yeah, hopefully it's not too serious.
So are you making some aspersions? Because you said you're talking about a Dutchman and grass, and I'm trying to work out what you're getting at here. But there we go.
I'm saying nothing.
You're saying nothing. Well, no. Let's hope. Let's hope it is just all part of the plan, and he gets back soon, because he's a massively important player to us, and to have him and Saliba out of that back four, you're just going to be worse. No matter who you bring in, you are just going to be worse. And look, we've discussed on other pods, or the last one, about the impact of Saliba, and you can manage and all the rest of it. And Timber's going to be another one. He's important defensively, but attacking wise, he's important because we need cover for Saliba. But it looks like they might be out for similar durations. But let's see. So onto the game itself, and for what you did see and did catch on the highlights and so on. What was did you have any highlights and lowlights from that game?
What stuck out to me was how sprightly Tzolis was. How are we pronouncing his name, just so we can get it? Get it.
It's pronounced whoop whoop. It's the sound of the Tzolis. There you go.
Tzolis. Well, Tzolis was I thought he stood out. Max Dowman, I thought, looked incredible. I mean, this could be a huge season, and it's crazy to say he's only 16. But yeah, those two stood out. It was great to see Ethan Nwaneri back in the team as well. Arteta said that he looks like a different man now, which is I love when he just gives little quips like that. And so yeah, I like. It's important not to take too much out of these preseason friendlies, but yeah, that's what stood out to me. Where it was kind of Dowman and Tzolis.
Yeah, any low light?
Oh yeah, low lights. No, I mean, again, it's just about getting minutes into the players' legs. Like the goal we conceded was sloppy. It was just a very straightforward corner. That wasn't defended greatly, but again, we don't have our normal back four in their normal positions. So yeah, the goal, but on a very low level.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll start with my little low light. It's the fact that you've got the likes of Fabio Vieira and Reece Nelson still, at the club, even to a certain extent. Jesus, those guys need to get a move on and find somewhere to go. Now, look, they're going to try and maximise their earning potential whilst at Arsenal, and so on. But yeah, they've got to be working hard. I think Fabio Vieira and Hamburg, I think there's something there. It's just that, even 16, 15 million is a big ask for the likes of Hamburg, and that's what we're looking for. But I think we'll make that happen. Jesus, because of his wages, he might be hard to shift, and maybe his injury record. And Nelson, there's talks of, abroad, Germany or the Netherlands or something like that. So, but yeah, just the fact that, I'd rather see academy kids coming on rather than them. And then we did have a load of academy kids. So maybe we haven't got enough. But yeah, just to have them, look, as players, and we thank them for their service. And Nelson will never forget the Bournemouth moment. Jesus has changed. Was the beginning. Yeah, he was part of the beginning of who we are now. So look, you thank them for what they've done, but it's. Now we've moved on. We've gone way past them, and we need to move on for their own benefit and as well as ours. And as for Vieira, well, yeah, it looks like we can get something done there. We may just have to hold our nose again when selling someone and just and just do that. So that's only a little low light. But in terms of my highlight, I was going to say the bruised banana, the new bruised banana blue kit. I think it's amazing. I've also sort of got it myself. And it looks so good out there.
Yeah.
Another couple of highlights was now. Have you ever heard of nominative determinism? And we've got a player in our team called Josh O'Gunner Ike. So if there was any player that was ever going to play for the Arsenal,
yeah,
I like spotting that there. But yeah, in terms of what you were saying about players, like Tzolis, he looked good, and we can chat about him in a minute. And Arteta was eulogising about him, but I was saying I thought Dowman was the star of the show. He was the best highlight for me. Scored, assisted, scored a goal again, looked lively. And we'll talk a bit more about him later. But I thought he was excellent, and Arteta went to said about him that, look, that's what we want. When you play for Arsenal, expectations should be high and should be expecting really good things. We know what he's capable of doing. We want to be more consistent in terms of performance and the actions he can deliver. I think today he had a really good game. So, I'm really pleased. That was my non-jokey highlight on Dowman.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. Again, I didn't see the whole game, but he popped on through the highlights. Yeah, like it's scary what he could be capable of, like going forward. Like he's just, he's going to be special.
I mean, the one thing is really it's a real fine balancing act, because we still need to remember he's only 16, okay? But we all want to see more of him. We know what the assist and the goal. We know he's got that in his locker, and he's such a talent. And I think he's going to feature, in the beginning of the season, and we all want to see more. But it's still, he's only 16. He's not 17. Until 31st of December or something like that. So it's Yeah, it's a tough one because you could maybe try and overprotect him and then not use him and not use him enough. So you got to sort of remember, well, and I don't know how old Jamal was when he started to be more regular for Barcelona, but just because you're really good at that age, we also need to protect him. I mean, we're looking at the likes of Saka and how shattered he is at the moment. So it's there. I find it's a real balancing act for someone's that young, but I think we're fortunate that look, he's not going to be too far behind the likes of Yamal, and if we get him in Champions League and we get him playing regularly in the Premier League, yeah, people are going to know very quickly how good he is and who he is.
Yeah. Just so happy in the same way that Saka is and was Arsenal through and through as he was coming through the academy, because it's a bit easier to hold on to these players because they have the DNA, the Arsenal DNA, and Max Dowman and his family seem to be the same, and that's hugely important and encouraging because you don't want to be losing the likes of that talent. Yeah, the future is bright.
It is indeed. So look, I mean, in terms of the game itself, look, it is a pre-season friendly. Girona are not particularly great. They were relegated last season to the Spanish second division. But I did expect a little bit more because this was like their 4th of 6 pre-season games and this was our first. So I expected them to maybe be fitter, to be better in parts, more cohesive. But that was never the case. And there was I thought there was a big gulf in class between the two teams, and all the players that stood out, apart from their 6'8" centre forward that came on in the second half, but he stood out because he's fucking huge. I think it was all the Arsenal players that were and I sort of put out. We mentioned Dowman, you've mentioned Tzolis, and not only was he good from an attacking point of view, he makes some nice runs down the left. It was a mix of taking shots and trying to create goals, but he was also tracking back and doing the dirty work. So, you mentioned him as one of your highlights. I mean, how excited are you to it's a 40 million punt, but I don't know, there's something, I don't know, maybe there's something about it. Maybe you're hoping to, maybe we're just hoping it's, regen of Trossard and some. So, how excited are you about this signing, or as excited as you can get for a 40 million player from the Belgian league?
Yeah, I don't know what it was about when the rumour started, and of course you go on and you start looking at the YouTube comps and whatnot, and I was looking at his stats, and oftentimes they don't translate. Players come in and they're not able for the step up, and that could be the case for Tzolis, but I've been really excited about this signing because we were losing Leo, and it just seemed from the comps that he was very, very similar to Leo. So people are describing him as Leo with pace, and look, he'd have a lot to live up to, or he does have a lot to live up to match Trossard or go past him. But I think he's capable, and I'm not just saying this based on a pre-season game against Girona. He just seems to have the attributes and the stats. Even though it's the Belgian league, he was it 29 assists and 21 goals, something like that. That's insane. And if you got half or a third of that from him this season in the Premier League, you would take that. And that would be incredible, an incredible first season. So yeah, I'm very excited about him, and it's one of those and you're kind of. It's mad to say 40 million punt because 40 million's a lot of money. But I think it might end up being in the same way that Leo was, a very good price for a very good player.
Yeah, and look, I think, as I said, he gets his goal, and I think it's always important for new players sort of make a bit of an impact in pre-season, especially when they're not so well known, and it gives them a bit of confidence, shows what they can do. I think gives the other players and fans confidence. I think so. It's really, really nice for him, and it helps him settle in. So I think that performance yesterday really sort of helps with that. I think MLS was good. I said, watching the whole game, he was pretty much running the midfield. Looked very, very confident. He played a nice chip over the top. I think it was for Tzolis or something like that. In the first half, he set up. Well, I say set up, on a plate for Max Dowman, as the joke goes. But he looked pretty good from midfield. But another one that surprised me was Meslier in goal, who Perry Groves kept on hilariously calling Kepa. So he and no one and Cocom's never even corrected him. So and it was good for a good 10-15 minutes. And Kepa hadn't been on the pitch, and he kept on calling Meslier Kepa, even though the commentator was saying Meslier. But he looked okay. I mean, again, context. Made a couple of nice, sharp saves. One reaction save from Girona's Dan Burn-esque centre forward was really good, down sharp to his right. So, again, but I think we've got, like, you have Kepa, you have Raya, you have him. I think no other teams have those three quality goalkeepers with that experience, Premier League experience. So maybe it's a shrewd move there. But again, half an hour against Girona, can't say so much. But he wasn't chucking them in, which everyone was expecting him to do. So that's I know it's a low bar. Felt good.
Yeah, I think people kind of over egg. Like, we're in a digital age where within seconds of a player signing, you can produce clips either of them showing quality or making mistakes. And yes, he's had a few gaffes in his time, but they're the outliers. He was a first team goalkeeper with a very big club for a long time. So he is a good goalkeeper. And again, if he turns out to be our third choice, like as you say, the strength and depth is, there's no other club out there that would have three goalkeepers like that. So yeah, he did start, like in the highlights, the extended highlights that I saw. Yeah, it stood out. He made 3 good saves. So yeah, more of the same, please.
Very good. Okay, so in terms of the match itself, the first half we scored early on, 16 minutes. Havertz 1-0. Again, Dowman receives the ball. Had 2 players on him, and he escapes them and plays a lovely pass, through the middle to Havertz, who's clean on goal, and he slots it away really, really nicely, very calmly. And if we have a fit Kai for the whole of next season, that's just going to make such a difference. Like, we did miss him a lot of the time last season. We wouldn't be winning a lot of these games only 1-0 had he been sort of fit and firing and sharing the workload with Gyökeres. So it's not quite lands, but close enough. And if you can stay fit, then that would be fantastic. Then Tzolis scores his goal on 30. I think running down the left channel, sort of. I think this is like how he operates. Cuts inside, shoots into the far corner with a little deflection. So I think that was, again, nice to see. And then having a go. I think he tried to set up Gyökeres earlier, and he was sort of trying a few things. So again, we see that. And then Vinny's got his work cut out. So it's not a given if Vinny comes in and he's going to get a starting position. So they'll be battling that one. And then there was those predetermined subs at 30. Like you, even though I was watching, I wasn't really paying that much attention. Saying, who? When Havertz, oh shit, he's not injured, is he? But then it's obviously, those, Havertz, Gyökeres and Hincapié before, was it Jesus, Fabio Vieira and Salmon. So that was fine. And not much happened for the rest of the half. And then the second half, okay, Girona started the brighter team. They got their goal on 50, which, a good header, but I think something happened with MLS and Salmon. MLS was on the floor holding his head. Sam was on the floor. I know something happened and Kepa had no chance. But not soon after, we were 2 goals back. Our advantage of 2 goals was back again because Dowman scores his goal. Nice little run across the edge of the box and shot into the near corner. And then 55 minutes, Girona overplaying at the back. Ben White makes a tackle in midfield and breaks the J9 and he puts it away and no bother. So, as good as it can get for those players. And then basically it was a case of Hale End FC conveyor belt of subs coming on. And look, the game loses a bit of rhythm, bit of shape, bit of purpose. There's a few minor incidents, but not much there. And then look, the Hale Enders look pretty good, very capable, very technically good. But yeah, so as a pre-season friendly, you don't really want much more than that, do you?
No. Again, like I said earlier on, you just want to make sure there's good minutes put into legs and no injuries. Yes, you like to win the game and you like to get moments like we did with goals, assists, and you want new players to start well and so on. But yeah, it's just about getting minutes into the legs. And yeah, it was a nice start, very nice start. And I'm very much looking forward to the next friendly because I won't have to travel too far for it.
Well, yeah. So we played Como. It's Como, isn't it? In Dublin.
Betis.
Oh, is it Real Betis? Oh, sorry. Oh, damn. So yeah, no. Como's is the last one before the Charity Shield. That's right. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Real Betis. Oh, so I had reuniting with Cesc Fabregas. I'm going to delete that and reuniting with Hector Bellerin. Bellerin. Hector Bellerin. So yeah, they're playing in Dublin. So. You'll be there, so yeah. So you're looking forward to that. Is it far from where you are, or can you walk home?
Well, It's not far in terms of a car drive or a bus journey, but I wouldn't walk it home. My big decision is whether I drive in or whether I have a few beers, but I'll see, because I got tickets for the Arseblog and the Arsenal Vision kind of live event in Dublin, so I might have a few beers at that and then save myself on the match day. I think I'll drive in for match day, but I can't wait. It's not very often they play in Dublin. The last time, I can't remember what year it was. I actually think it was we played Chelsea in the Aviva Stadium, and I'm pretty sure it was Unai Emery's first Arsenal match as manager. I'm pretty sure it was his first, and we got unbelievable seats. I was 2 seats away from the dugout. I could have slapped Unai Emery, and I'm raging I didn't, and we wouldn't have had to live through all of that. But yeah, very excited about it.
Yeah, no, nice, and there's a huge contingent of Arsenal fans in Dublin, so it sold out pretty quickly, didn't it? Sort of thing. So yeah. So good, but that should be a tougher challenge. You'd imagine. I had a whole thing about Como prepared, but I'll have to save that for another time. But it should be a tougher challenge than Girona, and interesting game. And again, it's going to be, maybe Big G and Nelly are back, or they may get 30 minutes, and some of those players who played 30 minutes against Girona, then they'll maybe get longer minutes. But I'm expecting a bit more the same, building that fitness, building those relationships. Then the kids take on the second half. So it's just like that. It's only the second game. Well, what I'm finding interesting or less interesting is that we're not going on tour, which I think is a great thing. I mean, I think some clubs have still gone far-flung areas, and I think given the World Cup, given the state of our squad, given everything that happened, I think just staying local or localish, is a far better proposition. But it just makes the games, how should we say, when we played Newcastle and Tottenham last year in the pre-season friendlies in Asia, was it Singapore, Hong Kong, or wherever it was, I don't know, it just feels like there's a different edge to it, or it feels a bit more interesting because you can look at both sides. Looking at how are they faring and how are they faring, sort of thing. And well, Tottenham beat us and they were shite, so don't read too much into it. And I think the Newcastle game was a draw, wasn't it? And but yeah, I don't know. How are you finding like the setup of this pre-season compared to other seasons? Do you like it when we play other Premier League clubs, or is it like no, we want to save that for the big stuff and not have all these these tours in Asia and the US and stuff like that, where you're sort of having to play the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Man United, and so on?
I'm very happy that, like as you say, that we didn't go too far flung abroad, because too much has happened over the summer in terms of football. Players have been, dragging their bodies through the World Cup. Playing other Premier League teams, the one thing I do like about it is that, you get a much better, it's a much harder task. It's a much tougher game. So in terms of fitness, I think it helps. It really helps players. But but at the same time, I know what you mean. I'm not overly keen either in some ways of playing other Premier League teams, because there's just, even like when we got beaten by Spurs, you just have to listen to them, and it's all nonsense, because as you say, they were shit for the whole season. Newcastle as well, and they were shit for pretty much the whole season. And I'm not pushed either way, but so sometimes as well, those pre-season friendlies when you're playing against other Premier League teams can get a bit heated. So
yes, the Newcastle one last year did.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need that. Both teams are trying to just get fit for the new season. Don't be trying to take lumps out of each other. And that can happen with Premier League teams. You look back at some of the greatest Arsenal teams under Arsene Wenger used to go and play villagers from, the Austrian mountains. So and it always worked out well. So yeah, I'm happy with the pre-season that we have lined up.
Yeah, I mean, they often get over-indexed and stuff like that. And yeah, there we go. Right. Anyway, so that's the Girona done. And we look forward to the Betis game on Wednesday evening in Dublin. And more of the same, please. So, okay, next up, we will be talking about transfers. But before we do, just a quick favour, quick reminder, and this seems to make a difference because I notice it. So apologies, but I'm going to keep asking. If you're enjoying the podcast, or if you're not, doesn't matter. Please leave a nice little 5-star rating. Subscribe on the podcast apps, on the YouTube channel, on Apple, on Spotify, at The Grove AFC, wherever you watch and listen. It does help with the listener numbers, help with the algos and so on, help spread the word to those less fortunate than yourselves. And so thank you if you've done it already. And if you haven't, stop what you're doing, spend 1 minute literally just to do it now, and and it really helps. And I said we do notice the difference. So until everyone and everyone has signed up, then I'll keep reminding people to do this. And so there we go. So thank you if you've done it, and thank you if you're going to do it. Okay, so transfers. We expect to have movements in the next few weeks, obviously. We want to get better like anybody else, and you can just see the transfer market and our opponents, what we are doing. We won't sit still, and we are very ambitious with what we are doing. Those are the words of Arteta yesterday. He refused to answer anything about Vinny Jr., funny enough, but we'll get to him in a second. But it looks like Bruno Guimaraes is almost done. Times reporting that a deal worth 80 million in total, 70 plus add-ons, has been struck. He's due to do a medical with Arsenal tomorrow. So it's not done, but let's see if we get a here we go or an Orm bomb sometime next week, and hopefully in time. I don't think it'll be done in time for the game in Dublin. I don't think he's going to do a Gyökeres and walk onto the pitch, pre game, but maybe in time for the Emirates Cup next week. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this transfer? You fairly confident it's going to get done?
Yeah, Bruno G, I think will be done. Yeah, all the reports are saying that it's, we're getting closer and closer. When a deal isn't going to get done, like I suppose you can. We've gone through so many transfer windows as fans now, you kind of get a feel for them, and yeah, I'm excited about it because he's got bags of experience. We wanted him initially before he went to Newcastle, and I think he'll be a great addition. Like, you look at our depth in midfield, if and when he comes, and yeah, he'll we'll be able to do a lot of stuff with him in the team, or him in the squad. He can play with or without Declan Rice, and we can still kind of not drop in quality. Obviously, Norgard wasn't trusted by Arteta last season, and we're basically, if you just go with the one in, one out kind of team, we're replacing Norgard with Bruno G, and that's it's a huge upgrade. I'm not saying that they're the same type player, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it'll get done, and I'm very excited about it.
I mean, other than his footballing ability and his skill and what he offers, I think he'll bring a certain passion with him. We know he's an emotional type player. Whether he can get away with that shit at Arsenal, I don't know. He'll bring a new energy to the team, but and I think even a freshness in terms of that desire to win big trophies. Now, I'm not saying the rest of the team don't want to win the big trophies, but there's always, they won the Premier League, and it's, and I'm sure we'll get ourselves up again, and we want to do the repeat because we've not done that for how long and so on. But I think he's quite desperate. He's coming to us for one reason, and that's to succeed. And I think he's going to be desperate to succeed. So I think he brings that added energy there, and he could be like, a driving force, but behind that, say, hey, I know you guys won last year, but I want to win this year, so come on. Yeah, that type of thing. But also, what's very funny is seeing Newcastle implode, because they're selling their best players. Their manager and that Tangerine Pillock has fucked off. And actually, I reckon this will impact the atmosphere at Newcastle. I mean, it's renowned for being a difficult place to go. It's raucous. The fans are behind the side, and they've got that. They get away with a lot with the referees, and they've got this sort of thing behind them. And I don't know if they get off to a bad start, and they've got this unknown manager coming from Saudi, and they're not really investing great, and they've lost their best players. I think the fans will get disheartened, and so I think they'll lose that edge. And it's just very funny because they're just such wankers, those fans, the way they they've treated us in the past and all the rest of it. And look, fans are fans, and it's what it is, but geez, they got massive chip on their shoulder. So it's very funny watching them implode.
Yeah. I think, the air has been kind of taken out of their tires a little bit this summer, and last summer as well, with Isak going. You get the feeling, like, from a distance, it looks like they're like the owners have just said, right, we're not allowed, or we're not capable now, or we're not able to do what we want to do in terms of doing a Man City. So it looks like they're just having a fire sale of all their biggest assets and bringing in younger, cheaper versions, which can work. We had to do it for a long time under Wenger when we were building the Emirates. But yeah, I think they could have a Spurs style season like from last season. And what's beautiful about this is I work with a Newcastle fan, and he gave me dog's abuse over, PSG beating us in the Champions League final. He actually he had bought it when he was on holidays. He brought in a PSG zip up top and wore it the Monday after the Champions League final. And literally since that day, they lost Gordon. It all went downhill, and they lost Gordon, Tonali, their manager Bruno G's about to go, and I've said to him, I said, you need to go online and apologise to every other Newcastle fan out there, because you've caused this. Your karma by putting that top on has just, since that day, it's all gone to shit for you, and so I'm getting great mileage out of that. But look, feck them. This is not a Newcastle podcast. Let's just take Bruno G and turn him into a champion. I did laugh. There was somebody online said, it was like, you better, like, it was a picture of him crying after the Carabao Cup, and they were like, he'll never cry for you, Arsenal. He doesn't love you the way he loves Newcastle. I was like, shut up. Like, he'll cry into the Champions League trophy or the Premier League trophy, hopefully, instead of the Carabao Cup. So, like, shut up. But yeah, that's mini rant over. Yeah, good luck to Newcastle next season is all.
No luck at all for me. Right, and look, you mentioned Norgard. You mentioned Norgard, so it looks like he's on the move to Everton for 7 million, which, considering we paid 10 million, is not bad, and we're really shit at selling. So, like, to turn him around, he's 1 year older. Yeah, and it's not bad for him either. He came to Arsenal, played 101 minutes in the Premier League, and became a champion. So that's
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad work, is it? If you can get it and paid handsomely, and yeah, he'll go down in history as being part of the squad that won the 2025-6 season. So, I mean, look, I think under Arteta he was underused. I think I think we could have used him a bit more. I think he is a quality player, but obviously Arteta would have seen something or something missing there. But he seemed to be a good influence in the dressing room. He played cup minutes, including the Champions League, but FA Cup and League Cup. He played in midfield and then even at centre back. So look, I wish him all the best. He seems a really decent character, and maybe I wish he had played more minutes, but it wasn't to be, and it could have worked out better. It could have worked out better for him for that regard, but also it couldn't have worked out much better because, as I said, he comes to Arsenal for one season, and he's a champion. So, he was never going to be here that long. And with the rise of MLS, Bruno Guimaraes coming in, yeah, it's the right thing to do. And I think 7 million for, I think he's 31, 32, pretty good going. But yeah, it's a shit. You feel sorry for him to a certain extent because of just didn't get as many minutes as good. But yeah, that's the life of a footballer, I guess, at that age.
Yeah, we all thought when he came in from Brentford that, like, he'd be a really good squad player, and I don't think anybody would have predicted how few minutes he got. It was kind of a strange one. A few minutes in the Premier League, I mean, like, because he seemed like he could be trusted. Like I don't know, it just didn't make much sense about how few minutes he got. But all I'll say about Christian Norgard is Christian Norgard 1, Steven Gerrard none. So that's all that matters.
Brilliant. I mean, yeah, on your point, yeah, he was Brentford's captain and never present, but yeah, it is what it is, and yeah. I don't think he's got too much to complain about, and all the rest of it, and I'm sure he'll get plenty of minutes at Everton. So good luck to him.
Yeah.
Before we get to the big one,
we just say basically he had a gap year at Arsenal and won the Premier League, and good enough for him.
Well, that's one hell of a gap year. Yeah, and before we get to the big one, I don't know if you saw the rumours around Man United inquiring about MLS. Now, I'm sure there's something in it. I mean, I'm sure they have inquired, and we've politely told them to fuck right off. Who wants to go to that shower of shit? And also, I think it's a bit speculative and all the rest of it. But yeah, I think it's just a bit of sort of like, maybe it's one of these ones that, well, I don't know I don't know if it's going to turn his eyes. Oh, look, it's Man United. Yeah. So I don't know, but I don't know if you saw those rumours.
I didn't see. I know in the past they had, I think they had their eye on them. But yeah, look, MLS, Manchester's laughing stock. That's what I think that stands for in this instance. And like they can feck off, as you say. Like anybody who leaves Arsenal now is going to a lesser club. Like, I mean, a worse team.
No, lesser club, a lesser club all round culturally.
Yeah.
Just stylistically, Champions League, if that's such a word.
Yeah, Champions League. Although they are in the Champions League now, but so they can feck off. They're not getting. MLS knows that he is at the right club, and it's just not going to happen. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if he went to Man United. It's not going to happen.
Indeed. So, Vinny Jr., are you allowing yourself to dream? Do you have any concerns about this transfer? How do you rate our chances?
Well, you can see I'm wearing the new Arsenal jersey, and I'm going to reveal that I have Vinny Jr. on the back. No, I don't. No, I look. I've spoken so much about this and thought so much about it over the last couple of weeks since the Orn bomb came out that we were interested in, and immediately I rubbished it. I just thought, there's no way. This is just him, or his agent trying to get the deal that he wants from Real Madrid. And I gave us the chance of us actually signing him, like, a 1% or 2% chance. But as the time has gone past, and maybe it's the hopium, like, it seems more and more realistic. I still don't think we'll sign him. Like, my 1% has probably gone up to 15-20% chance of signing him. Like, all the things align in terms of, but like what I'm about to say is more Arsenal fan hoping that these are the reasons, as in, we're talking about Mourinho being there and the whole thing that happened with Benfica, and that's real and that's true. And I wouldn't want to work under a manager who spoke about me if I was Vinny Jr. in the way that he did, very controversially, like, as well. And the fact that he wants to get to Kylian Mbappe's wage, and they're not going to, they refuse to do that. Like, there's lots of things that line up. We need a left winger. We have all the money in the world at the moment, and so on. So, and all of that is true. Like, it may be true, but it doesn't mean that he is going to come. Obviously, like, I still think it's very likely that he'll just sign a new deal at Real Madrid. But if I was to allow myself to dream, I mean, what a player we would have in our hands. What a signing. It would definitely be the Premier League's biggest import, I would say, in terms of impact. People have spoken about Arsenal have 23 million Instagram followers, and I know I shouldn't be talking about this in terms of football, but like, football is now a global thing. It's like the reach that these players have. So we've 23 million Instagram followers. He has something like 58. I don't know the exact details. So that's the kind of person you're bringing in. It would, like, we would sell 1 million jerseys. Like, he'd pay for himself, and what he would bring to us on the pitch would be something, nothing short of sensational. Yeah, I would love to see it happening, but I'm not allowing myself to go there yet, because we are one tweet away or one post away from it all just being rubbished. Vinny Jr. has agreed a new deal with Real Madrid, and then we're back to square one. And that's my big worry, is like, okay, what's our backup plan here? If we don't get Vinny Jr., if it goes all the way till the end of August, what do we do then? What happens? Because I love the ambition. I love what we're trying to do, which means that we have the money there to make a huge signing like that. But if we leave it too late and it doesn't happen, like, we're not going to be able to do a big deal with somebody else or deal with a big player in a short space of time. So that's kind of my concern. Like, and if we did, one other little concern would be, like, if we do sign him, we're going to have to absolutely smash our wage kind of structure. Like, I think we managed that quite well. Like, one way, like, what I'm about to say is a bit of a concern, that obviously if we sign Vinny Jr. and he's on 450,000 a week, Saka is going to come to the table, Declan Rice is going to come to the table, and they'll all be looking for more money, and that's fair enough. But all of a sudden you could get yourself into a situation where your wages spiral out of control. The other way of looking at it is that if we were able to, I don't want to use this phrase, but if we were able to get rid of Gabriel Jesus, what's he on, 250 to 300,000 pounds? Like, if Jesus goes, it's only an extra 200,000, only in inverted commas, to pay Vinny Jr. Like, so, it's doable financially, but I would have a little bit of concern about how it would impact. Now, if you were to ask all the Arsenal players, would you like us to sign Vinny Jr., even though he'd be paying more than you, they'd all jump and say, yes, of course we do, because that guy could bring us to the promised land, Champions League. Am I right in saying he scored 2 winners in 2 different Champions League finals? This guy is elite. That's what we're talking about. So maybe my concerns about wages and all that are, might be unfounded. So yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are. Like, as I'm talking, I'm getting excited and saying, yes, Jesus, hopefully this happens. But I have to pull myself back and say it's probably still highly unlikely.
Yeah, I'm keeping my powder dry, so to speak. So I'm trying not to get too invested in it and stuff like that, but it's looking potentially promising. The chances are in increasing. I think the only Arsenal player that may not want him to come is Martinelli. but that's about it. Yeah. So So yeah, I'm not allowing myself to dream, but it's there's a chance, and there's a you say there's a chance. So it doesn't seem but previously just look, it's a pipe dream, it can never happen, and now it's like, well, apparently he's interested in our proposal. We put something together, and I think he's interested, or he's accepted it, and there seems to be some sort of agreement from that perspective. Seems like there's a final offer on the table from Madrid, and it's up to Vinny basically if he wants to reduce his demands. I think it's all about the image rights and trying to match up with it, and then a bit of the signing on bonus or re-signing bonus. So it's a game of chicken, or who's going to blink first, and there's a lot of egos at play, and then who's going to back down. I think Real Madrid, I think they'd be happy to sell him, and then they saving up for their next Galactico, which maybe is Haaland or Elise or something like that, and so maybe and if they're gonna if he's not going to sign, then fine, they have to sell him now, otherwise he goes on a free. I think it all comes down to how much Vinny wants to stay at Real Madrid, and they'll make him an offer, and that he can refuse, and if he does refuse it, then we're the ones in prime position to pick him up. So it could be. It could happen, but again, like you, I think most likely it doesn't. But maybe that's a bit of protectionism. Maybe we're not. I'm trying to stop myself getting excited. And there's a lot of people out there who think, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So who knows? But it's gonna. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to drag on, because I think everyone want to just get it sorted one way or another, sort of thing. So, but yeah, and I think we're ready to there. And in terms of paying for it, I think it pays for himself. Once Rice and Saka have got 2 Champions Leagues under their belt, then maybe they can come back for 400, 450, 500. Until such a time. Or when their image is that, they've got 58 million, Insta followers and stuff like that. So when they're up at that level, then maybe we do pay them. So, or they'll think, well, look, if he can take us to the next level, then I think, well, he can have all the money he wants, sort of thing. So, I think there's a balance there. And I think for the Kroenkes, this sort of money, if you compare it to what they pay in the NBA or NFL, they're not frightened by this sort of money. It may look very frightening on Arsenal's books, but for them, in terms of how much NFL players get paid, the top ones, and how much this isn't even like in the top echelons of what they get. Those guys get paid. It's very big as far as football's concerned, but not in American sports. So I think it's great. It's ambitious. It shows who we are and the intent and what it could do for us as a club. I think it's incredible. Yeah, the nagging feeling is that we end up with Rashford, and that's where I'm at. So don't know. We'll see. We'll wait for. We just have to keep waiting. I guess.
I think the next few days are crucial. There are talks that he is going to be in talks, should I say, over the next few days with Real Madrid, and I think come mid to the end of next week we'll be much clearer in what might or might not happen. That would be my preferred situation. Just very quickly decide it, yes or no. I know it'll take a while to get the actual deal done, but if he makes his mind up quickly, that'd be great for all parties, because we can move on, he can move on, or we can get the deal done. So let's just wait and see.
So apparently we're also looking at we need to look at defensive cover. Don't know what we're going to have there. Right hand side of defence, be it a right side of centre back, or a right back who can play right side of centre back. We'll see. It'd be interesting. I was going to see, because we always say, we can put we can put Ben White at right side of centre back, but would he dare swap around Mosquera and White just to see him there? So I don't know, but I think that's that. So you get him, Tzolis, Vinny Jr. and a defender. Yeah, that'll be a pretty good summer.
Yeah, I mean we'll have had worse.
Yes, indeed, and then we just got to get rid of some of the dead. I feel bad saying, but the deadwood, the players that we just need to save some money on in terms of wages, or just like we need to free up some room. So let's see. So that's what that's down to Berta and the boys to sort out. So and there we go. So that's that for this week's pod. Thank you, Ian, for joining me on this fine Sunday evening, and I hope you have a great time at the Real Betis game in Dublin. And if you'd like to let the listeners know what you get up to and where they can find you, Sounds a bit Liam Neeson in Taken, that does. But yeah, anyway, what'd you do?
I would find. Well, yeah, as you can see, my handle is at Ars Cannon Pics, where I get people to send me pictures of cannons, which is it's funny because like I'm on lots of the socials, but things have exploded a bit in on Blue Sky for some reason. Like there's been huge interest in cannons all of a sudden on Blue Sky. And I'm getting so many new ones sent in, which is great. I counted how many. I post one a day, and I went through my drafts yesterday, and I had 160 cannons in my drafts, which means it's going to take me 5 months to post them all. Like if I go one a day, and even today I got another 4 or 5. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun. That's where people can find me on all the socials that are.
Good stuff. Well, anyway, thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good time on Wednesday.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. Yeah, and it's great to be back on, and we'll do it again throughout the season.
Indeed we do. Indeed we will. And look, you can find us and follow us on Threads and Blue Sky and TikTok and X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple at The Grove AFC. So as I said, if you can leave us a little like, subscribe, comment, follow, 5-star rating, it's much appreciated. And thank you very much. As I said, the next pod will most probably be after the Como friendly on Thursday. Como, my notes. The Real Betis friendly in Dublin on Thursday. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have a chat and chat about another decent game, and maybe we'll have some more detailed transfer news rather than speculation. But let's see. So look, thank you for listening. That's 1 trophy down, 5 more to go. But will anything really top the Costa Brava Cup? Yeah, I'm not so sure. Anyway, until the next time, come on you Gunners.